The business of professional sports often runs on a carefully constructed illusion. Owners, executives, and much of the mainstream sports media want fans to believe that everyone involved, the league, the players, and the union, is united and moving together toward a prosperous future. Over the past year, the WNBA has been portrayed as a perfect example of that success story. Record-breaking television ratings, sold-out arenas, and long-awaited improvements like charter flights have all been presented as proof that the league is experiencing the biggest cultural and financial surge in the history of women's sports. Much of this momentum has been linked to the arrival of a generational rookie star who brought unprecedented attention and excitement to the league. On the surface, it appears to be the beginning of a golden era where players secure great opportunities and financial stability. However, beneath that optimistic narrative, tensions are reportedly building. As the league approaches negotiations for a new collective bargaining agreement, what might seem like a routine labor discussion has turned into a much more complicated struggle over money, influence, and the future direction of the league. Instead of complete unity, there are signs of disagreement and differing priorities within the players' ranks. Some commentators argue that the public narrative presented by major networks and publications simplifies the situation, framing it solely as players seeking fair compensation from wealthy owners. In reality, the debate also reflects deeper divisions and competing perspectives about how the league should grow and how the benefits of its recent success should be shared. These disagreements have created a tense environment at a crucial moment for the WNBA. While the league has never had more visibility and fan interest, the ongoing negotiations could shape whether that momentum leads to long-term stability or further conflict. As analysts and commentators continue to debate the situation, the coming months will likely reveal how both players and league leadership balance financial realities, player demands, and the expectations of a rapidly expanding fan base.
And it seems like it's going to split. I don't think most people are recognizing this, but the white girls are ready to end this whole deal and sign the deal. They don't want to strike. The black girls are still holding out and they're oppressed, and they want to play this to the bust. You got Kelsey Plum, you got Breanna Stewart basically saying, hey, look, we need to play this season. It's important. We don't need to strike. And then you have...
What you just heard reflects a reality of a union that many believe is deeply fractured. This situation is not simply a routine labor negotiation about revenue sharing. For some observers, it has evolved into a much broader cultural and strategic conflict. In professional sports, leverage is the most important factor during collective bargaining negotiations. Players in leagues like the National Basketball Association have significant leverage because the league generates billions of dollars in global television revenue, meaning a strike would cause immediate financial damage to owners. Similarly, athletes in the National Football League hold influence because professional football is deeply embedded in American culture, making any disruption extremely costly. The Women's National Basketball Association, however, has historically operated under very different financial circumstances. For many years, the league reportedly depended on financial support connected to the NBA to sustain operations, leaving players with limited bargaining power. According to many commentators, that dynamic began to change with the arrival of Caitlin Clark. Her popularity brought unprecedented media attention, record viewership, and sold-out arenas, dramatically increasing the league's visibility and commercial potential. In theory, this surge in attention created a moment where players could finally negotiate from a stronger position. Yet instead of presenting a completely unified front, critics argue that internal divisions within the players' union have complicated the situation. Some believe certain veteran voices within the group are pushing aggressive demands, while other players are more cautious about how far the confrontation with league ownership should go. This disagreement has reportedly created tension within the ranks, leaving many players uncertain about the outcome of the negotiations and concerned about the long-term consequences for the league's growth and stability.
Listen, Whitlock kept it real. I cannot believe the way these ladies are going about this. The WNBPA is an absolute disaster. They're not on the same page. They have no idea what they're doing. They have their own players that they are representing coming out and calling them greedy and selfish. You have players coming out saying, I want to play. You have middle tier players and rookies saying, I can't afford a lockout. I'm scared. All of this stuff. The WNBPA This has been a debacle. This has been a...
When members in the middle tier of a union begin expressing fear about the direction of their own leadership, it signals deeper internal tension rather than a simple labor negotiation. Consider the perspective of a mid-level player earning roughly $80,000 to $100,000 per year. Unlike the biggest stars, she may not have major endorsement deals from global brands such as Nike or Gatorade. Her primary income comes from game checks, which help cover everyday expenses like rent and family needs. For players in this position, the possibility of a lockout is not an abstract political strategy. It represents a serious financial risk. Critics argue that some of the louder voices within the union leadership may feel more insulated because of personal wealth, sponsorships, or overseas contracts, which can make the stakes feel very different for players who rely almost entirely on their league salaries. This debate is unfolding during a pivotal moment for the Women's National Basketball Association. The league has recently experienced a surge in popularity, driven in large part by the arrival of star rookie Caitlin Clark, whose performances and long-range shooting have drawn new audiences and generated significant media attention. At the same time, the league recently secured a major media rights agreement reportedly worth more than $2 billion over 11 years, an important milestone that strengthens the league's financial foundation. Even so, when that revenue is spread across teams and over a long period, analysts note that it does not immediately place the WNBA in the same financial category as leagues like the National Basketball Association. This reality has intensified debate about how quickly salaries and benefits can rise while maintaining long-term stability. In professional sports, a delicate balance typically exists between three main forces: league leadership, team ownership, and the players' union. Each group negotiates aggressively for interests, but all generally recognize that the health of the sport ultimately depends on the fans. The recent growth in attendance and television viewership shows how much excitement currently surrounds the WNBA. However, some analysts warn that if negotiations escalate into a lockout or prolonged conflict, the league risks losing part of the new audience that arrived during this surge in popularity. Others argue that strong negotiations are necessary to ensure players receive a fair share of the league's growth. As voices like Natasha Cloud continue to speak publicly about player concerns, the ongoing discussion highlights a complex mix of economics, player welfare, and fan expectations that will shape the next phase of the league's evolution.
Wants to have happen.
Are still not making enough, that middleman potentially still not making enough for housing to also be taken off of the table. You all know this New York market. that $200,000 jump that players are going to make, that's before taxes, that's before what they would have to pay for a potential. I think there's a lot more that we can.
From a public relations perspective, statements made during labor disputes can have a powerful impact on how fans interpret the situation. In professional sports, public sympathy often becomes a crucial factor when conflicts over salaries and revenue sharing arise. History offers a clear example in the Major League Baseball labor crisis that led to the 1994-95 Major League Baseball strike, where prolonged dispute between wealthy owners and highly paid athletes damaged the league's popularity for years. For a league like the Women's National Basketball Association, which is still expanding its fan base and financial stability, maintaining public goodwill is especially important. When discussions about salaries surface publicly, such as debate around six-figure pay, taxes, and cost of living, it can sometimes create a disconnect with average households that earn far less, making the messaging around those debates extremely sensitive. Some analysts and former players have warned that this kind of rhetoric could unintentionally distance fans. For example, WNBA legend Rebecca Lobo has spoken about the importance of keeping supporters engaged and understanding their perspectives, particularly when the league is experiencing renewed growth and attention. At the same time, the surge in popularity surrounding players like Caitlin Clark has brought unprecedented visibility, larger audiences, and greater commercial opportunities to the league. That momentum has intensified the stakes surrounding collective bargaining negotiations because both the league and the players understand that the current moment could shape the WNBA's long-term financial future. Within this environment, a wide range of theories and opinions are circulating about the motivations behind aggressive negotiating strategies. Some commentators speculate that certain veteran players feel their influence within the league is shifting as new stars attract global attention, while others argue the push for stronger bargaining positions is simply part of the normal process of securing better pay and conditions for all players. Regardless of interpretation, the central issue remains the same: balancing player demands, league economics, and fan expectations. As negotiations continue, the challenge for the WNBA will be preserving the momentum of its growing audience while navigating the complex power dynamics between players, leadership, and ownership.
There's a bunch of other players like that in the WNBA, that those players are illogical and will push this to the brink. Because again, it's not about making money. It's not about being treated fairly. It's about staying on message and proving that they're oppressed and that the white man and the white woman is oppressing them. They'll blow this thing up. I would not be surprised.
They're already blowing it up. Like, what are we talking?
Some critics argue that the current conflict reflects a deeper shift in how labor organizations sometimes operate. In their view, when a union moves beyond purely economic negotiations and becomes more focused on broader ideological goals, traditional business logic can begin to break down. In a typical negotiation, rational actors aim to increase profits while minimizing risk. However, critics claim that when emotions, identity politics, or ideological motivations dominate the conversation, the strategy can shift toward confrontation even if it carries major financial consequences. According to this perspective, the Women's National Basketball Association now finds itself in a high-stakes situation where league executives, team owners, and more cautious players are trying to maintain stability while a more aggressive faction pushes for stronger demands during negotiations. The potential consequences of a prolonged labor conflict could extend far beyond the players themselves. Middle-tier athletes who depend heavily on their salaries could face serious financial pressure if games stop. Arena staff, event workers, and other employees connected to game nights could also lose income. Broadcast partners and networks that have invested heavily in the league's recent growth could face scheduling and financial disruptions as well. Much of the current excitement around the league has been fueled by the arrival of breakout stars like Caitlin Clark, whose performances have drawn large audiences and brought new fans to the sport. Because of that surge in popularity, many observers believe this moment represents a critical crossroads for the league's future. Ultimately, the long-term health of any sports league depends heavily on its relationship with fans. Supporters choose to spend their time and money on entertainment they enjoy, and maintaining that connection is essential for continued growth. Some commentators warn that a lockout or extended dispute could risk losing part of the new audience that recently discovered the WNBA, while others believe strong negotiations are necessary to ensure players receive a fair share of the league's expanding revenues. As the debate continues, the central question remains whether league leadership, players, and union representatives can find a compromise that protects both the league's momentum and the players' long-term interests. Fans will be watching closely as the situation unfolds and determining for themselves how they feel about the direction the league ultimately takes.